What's up, everybody? I'm Wayne G, joined as always by Sully.
Ayo.
It is Infinity Sports. Now, what can you look forward to today? Well, we're going to be talking about the NFL playoffs, round one, of course. We've got Tua possibly trade rumors, some NBA news, including a record by LaMelo Ball. But first things first, I just want to say, if you are listening to the show, meaning audio format, you downloaded or streamed it, we thank you very much. Please rate and review. Also, if you'd like some bonus content or things that you don't get to experience listening, check out the video podcast. It's available on YouTube the next day after we do it, or if you want to catch it live, Mondays at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as on whatever. So YouTube, you can find all that stuff. Which, speaking of YouTube, I do have to say, our mock draft episode is now up to like 400 and some odd views. So doing really well.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah,
lots of comments, dude. Man.
Yeah, we've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 new subscriptions out of it. So definitely it's doing really well. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And like I said, if you do check it out on YouTube the next day or later on, if you do check it out live, you can actually comment on the show. We'll put your show up there, your comment up on the show. You actually get to be part of it, so that's pretty cool as well. And of course, check us out on social media: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Excuse me, I don't have all the graphics today because I was in a rush to put this all together. But the first thing, like and subscribe. That was the first screen. I guess I should have had that up while I was saying that stuff.
Yeah. I was waiting for that screen.
All right, so the Bills playoff, and we're going to jump right into the NFL. The Bills win for the first time since 1995 in the playoffs. I felt like we knew it was coming. They were 13-3 in the regular season. Their defense is stout. Josh Allen's been playing phenomenal. I'm not super surprised they won this game.
I don't know. It's not that I'm surprised, but I mean, like I said, I had the Colts, going to the Super Bowl. So, and I mean, the Colts played a great game. It's just, certain decisions had a ton of impact on the game, but I mean, it was a really good game to watch. I mean, Josh Allen's emerging into a star. I'm pretty sure he's the first quarterback ever to throw for 300 yards, rush for at least 50, and complete at least 70% of his passes in a playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, and watching him play is always fun. Like, we had that throw that we just showed on the highlight reel. So effortless. It's just like 35 yards with a flick of a wrist. Just so effortless throwing the ball.
He can slang that tater, man.
Now, on the flip side of things, Phillip Rivers didn't play horrible, didn't play great, but was this the last game of his career?
Maybe. I mean, they got Jacob Eason, who's, I think they've got grooming on for the next, so we'll see. But I don't know. I think he played pretty well this year.
He did, and I know that Frank Reich wants him back. He's come out and said, I want Phillip Rivers as a quarterback next year. But I know everyone kind of felt like this was his swan song. Like, he was hoping he'd kind of get in the playoff, maybe get to the Super Bowl. I know he's never won one. If he doesn't win a Super Bowl in his career, he retires. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I don't think first ballot, no.
Okay. A lot of passing yards, a lot of touchdowns.
No, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, but I mean, first ballots, and it's going to depend a lot on his ballot, I guess, too. I mean, to be fair. But I mean, like, first ballots are like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, things like that.
Yeah, I guess, like you said, it depends on who's on the ballot with. Be a crappy class. I don't know. Jared Goff was not going to play. He was not scheduled to play because he had surgery on his thumb 2 weeks ago. And so he was sitting out, and they had Wolford go in there and start the game. And I guess he got hit diving for a ball. I don't have the video of that. I couldn't find that. But he got hit diving for the ball, got taken away in an ambulance, went to the hospital. He was back by the end of the game. They said it was like a stinger or something like that. But Jared Goff had to come in and play with that surgically repaired thumb. And the Rams happened to pull it out. It was actually the Cam Akers show, because Cam Akers went for like 137 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he balled out. And honestly, Aaron Donald got hurt too. And so I'm pretty sure he didn't play for like the second half of the third quarter and then the rest of the fourth quarter. I mean, it was a performance. I mean, Russell Wilson kind of shit the bed. The Rams defense stepped up and played extremely well, but nonetheless, I don't think Russell Wilson played well at all. He did not perform well at all.
He didn't, and you mentioned Aaron Donald, and that was when I was looking up the defensive stats. Aaron Donald had 2 sacks and 3 quarterback hits. So even
in 2.5 quarters too.
Yeah, just an absolutely mauled.
He's a monster.
You brought up Russell Wilson, and that's where my question was this about Russell Wilson is he elite? Because we've always said Russell Wilson's in that elite class with the Mahomes, with whoever else. But now I'm looking at his stats. regular season elite, yes, kind of like Peyton Manning, right? But in the playoffs, his numbers go down significantly, and this game was no different. I mean, his touchdowns go down. He goes from a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio to 2-to-1. His completion percentage goes from 65 to 60, almost 59. So I mean, is he really an elite quarterback if he cannot perform in the playoffs? And I know he won a Super Bowl, but that was really the defense that won that Super Bowl.
Yes, I still think he's elite. I mean, I don't know. If he's not elite, he's like right there, man. I don't know. Like he's like the semi. I don't know what you would even call it then, but he's right there.
Right. Well, I'd always thought it was Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson were your top three. But I'm wondering if he falls off of that tier and now it's just those two, and then he's kind of a tier below.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say so.
All right. Well, and it's sad because I've always thought – so I was not a Russell Wilson fan at first, and then I became a Russell Wilson. I was like, man, he's really good. You watch him play, and I'm like, he's really good. But then looking at the playoffs, I'm like, he just doesn't – I mean, his team will carry him, but like either it's Marshawn Lynch running for 126 yards or it's a defense putting up a shutout. He's not going out there and throwing for 350 in a playoff game.
Winning a ball game. That is true. And I mean, I never, I guess, really thought about it. But I mean, yeah, you've got to win those kind of games and play that kind of way to be considered an elite quarterback.
In the Tampa Bay game, this is your game. Tampa Bay does beat Washington. No big surprise there, beating the 7-9 Washington football team. But it was really Taylor Heineke who stole the show. Went out there and played really, really well. He's only on a 1-year deal with Washington, but over 300 yards passing and a 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
A rushing touchdown.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, he played great, and I'm curious your thoughts. I mean, I'm sure you watched the game, what you thought about his play.
I mean, he did. He played extremely well. Like, these kind of plays, like, it was just like, man, what the fuck? He was just very, I guess, elusive. Right there was the play where I guess he separates his AC or sprains his AC joint right there. Chase Young, 0 pressures, 0 quarterback hits.
Say, I want Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, well done, bro. That offensive line played extremely well, to be fair. But, yeah, I mean, he played extremely well, and I mean, he's got to earn himself at least something at this point, you would think. I mean,
well, what do you do? Because he's an unrestricted free agent. So, I mean, what does he really play for? What is his demand going to be? Because he kind of reminds me of No, I was thinking like Matt Flynn. You remember Matt Flynn went out and had that 6-touchdown game, 400 yards passing, and then basically the Packers traded him for a first-round pick to the Seahawks, and Russell Wilson was the rookie, beat him out for the starting position. Yeah. So he had that one great game, and I'm like, is this going to be the same situation where teams are going to look at this one game and overpay somehow, some way for him?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, that's just what they do.
How do you compare him to, say, somebody like, I mean, Gardner Minshew has a lot more starts, but, I mean, in terms of comparing the two of them, because to me they seem similar.
I would probably favor Gardner Minshew just because I've seen more tape on him. I know what I'm going to get. But then again, that's also could be a negative. With Taylor Heineke, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, could you get a star? Like, you know what I mean? Gardner Minshew, you're not going to get a star like somebody like that. Taylor Heineke, could he play this level for a sustained amount of time? You don't know. Like, the odds say he won't. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't done it yet. And I mean, he was the third stringer at Washington. So,
He was in New England. I think a lot of New England fans don't realize that. He was like a practice squad player in New England at one point.
Wow, that's wild.
But no, speaking of New England and Tampa, obviously Tom Brady doing just what Tom Brady does, 381 yards and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, winning another playoff game. Just nobody cares anymore. It's just he does it so often.
I care.
I know you care. And that was
my first playoff win in, I think, 17 years. So
that's my thing. So I remember when he first signed with Tampa, how excited you were, and now getting to see him play in the playoffs and be playoff Tom. It's like, hey, this is what we wanted right here.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Like, it's so funny. I watch these games and I'm not even nervous. Like, I watch them and I'm like, granted it was Washington, but I was watching this game and I was like, oh, Like this, we won this game. I'm not even worried. I know we're going to New Orleans next week, and honestly, like truthfully, I'm not even worried. I know we just got beat 38-3. I know logic. We just got beat the game or the week, for this week 2 matchup. I think it was too. I don't care. It's playoff Tom Brady. He's gonna win. He's just gonna win.
That was always my take when he was here in New England. Was like we would be down 6, with 2 minutes to go, and I'm like, we're probably gonna win. So
yeah, exactly. I don't know why we're worried here. It's Tom fucking Brady. I don't know what. Like, even if like Bruce Arians or Byron Leftwich calls something, Tom Brady will be like, no. It's playoffs. I got this, guys. You hang out. I'll earn you your check.
I was telling my daughter about it. She wants to watch him play so bad because I was telling her how he taps his helmet. That's his thing. And I was explaining to her. I said usually does it on run plays, and it's just switching which side it goes to. Yeah. But I said every game you'll see him tap his helmet, and he says something. He's like yelling at both sides, tapping his helmet. She's like, I want to see that. I'm like, all right, well, we watch a game, we'll see him do it like 15 times. The Saints and the Bears were on Nickelodeon. I don't have any highlights for this game. First of all,
I heard it was incredible. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I heard it was really good too. That's the thing. I didn't watch it either, but I heard it was really good, and I didn't have any highlights because I was like, well, that's the Saints and the Bears. The Saints won, which they're supposed to do. Mitchell Trubisky lost, which he's supposed to do. Nothing really exciting about this game, but I just thought the fact that it was on Nickelodeon, that's where you had to go to find it.
I mean, you could watch it other places. You could also watch it on Nickelodeon.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm almost curious to go back and watch the Nickelodeon broadcast to see.
I heard it was great. I'm not gonna lie. From multiple people, I heard it was fantastic.
I saw somebody asking if this was just a way to indoctrinate the youth into the sports. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
And they should be indoctrinated. It's the greatest game in the world,
right?
I also just realized I spelled Saints with the S before the T there.
Saints.
Yeah. Which actually, we spelled Philadelphia wrong on the draft episode.
Did we?
I did. But
I didn't do it.
But you did, and this is the thing, because somebody commented, they said, hey, who spelled Philadelphia? I said, I did, and I originally spelled it the correct way, but you spelled it wrong in your list that you sent me, so I thought I spelled it wrong, so I switched it back to the way you spelled it.
No way.
Yeah.
I did not spell it wrong.
You did. All right, so Lamar Jackson gets his first playoff win. It's his third playoff start.
No, I didn't.
I think Phila.
Yeah.
It's ILI, isn't it?
No.
All right, I don't know. The person actually gave me a hard time about having ILA.
No, it's Philadelphia. That's how you spell it. The first who gave you a hard time is a Riri.
That wasn't on purpose, but
was it? That's perfect.
All right. So so Lamar Jackson gets his first career playoff win in his third career playoff start. And I guess that puts him in the same class as guys like Drew Brees and Warren Moon, who also got their first win in their third start. For all those people who are crapping on Lamar Jackson about not being able to win the playoffs, not everybody's Tom Brady. Not everybody wins the Super Bowl their first year. It takes some time. This is his third season. Now, granted, he didn't have a great passing game, but he ran for 136 yards.
Yeah. And the runs were crucial, and honestly, the runs were what won the game. And, I mean, he's a great running back. He is. I mean, he's lethal as a running back. I mean, look at this. He's just explosive, and he reads the field well. And, man, you give him the ball and let him run, and he's really good. So, well,
I know that looking at my statistics here, I'd had Derrick Henry only had 40 yards rushing. So the Ravens
had 16 carries. So, I mean, they really kind of screwed up their whole shit there.
Who's that, Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
Well, he had 18 carries.
Same thing.
Well, so almost 20 carries for the game, but he had only
not enough carries.
Well, you're averaging 2.3 yards per carry.
Whatever.
He just stopped giving to the running back. I just figured like the Ravens did a good job shutting him down. He didn't get to go off beast mode on them.
Yeah.
The game after that I have is the Browns beat the Steelers, and how awesome is this? Because a lot of people were giving the Steelers crap, and rightfully so, for their record early on. They're like, oh, so they're 11-0, but they beat the lowly Browns. I'm like, well, the Browns are playoff bound.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like they're a solid team. And I love that, was it Juju said, well, it's just the same old Browns. It's just gray faces and whatever. And Juju needs to stop talking and dancing.
He needs to just stop.
I think at one point he was dancing like in the fourth quarter when they were losing.
On logos and shit, too. It's like, dude.
I mean, I don't get it. But I was happy for the Browns. I mean, first time since, was it Bill Belichick was there?
Yeah. I mean, good for them. And honestly, they look dangerous. They run the football well. And, I mean, Baker Mayfield, if he can not turn the ball over, I think they're a decent football team. I mean, they are.
Now, my question for you is this: on a putting it on a scale, I was like, is it the Browns are dangerous, like you're saying, or are the Steelers just overrated?
A little bit of both. I mean, I still think the Browns have a good recipe to win football games, and that's why they won 10, 11 football games now at this point. You run the football really well, and you play good defense, and you don't turn the ball over, and you're going to win a lot of football games.
I mean, we got two running backs who can run for 125 yards if they want.
Exactly. And then the defense is, you got Myles Garrett, you got Denzel Ward, like you got a lot of talent on that side of the football. And, I mean, if Baker Mayfield can do what he does in this game, like he did or he did in this game, if he can continue to do that, I mean, they're going to be a tough football team to beat.
But that was a quick run through, actually, the playoff stuff. I think that's all the playoff games that I had, because after that we get into NFL news. And the big news that I thought big news was that the NFL is discussing whether or not they're going to have a combine this year because of COVID, and they don't know all that, masks and whatever. But my train of thought was this: we talk a lot, and we just did the mock draft, and you talked about Trey Lance and how he's going to wow all these people with his combine speed and his athleticism and his interviews. And if there is no combine, like, who are some of the guys that's really going to hurt that not having a combine?
A lot. Pretty much all the guys who then didn't play this entire year, because now it's where do you go to, like, show what you can do, essentially. I mean, obviously there's going to be pro days and things like that still, but I'm telling you, people take this combine seriously, take these numbers seriously, and I don't see any way they don't. I mean, it'd be so wild for them not to. I mean, they're playing sports. Who gives a shit about, like, the combine? Like, what's the difference?
Well, I don't know. I think because
wear a mask when you're not participating in a drill, and then when you participate, take your mask off, and then put your mask back on, and you're good to go.
I do think that, they also have the team workouts. Like Alabama has their own workout. Clemson has their own workout. Maybe the teams just do that instead. Like, you know what? Then it's controlled by the team,
Yeah, but people don't put as much stock into it because it's not controlled by the NFL. It's controlled by the team.
I mean, it's the same thing. I mean,
it's not the same thing. I'm telling you, it's not at all. Why wouldn't Alabama inflate their numbers to get their guys drafted higher? Like, why wouldn't they do that?
Well, you still have to run. You still have to jump.
Yeah, but it doesn't. So, yeah, but like you can run. The time isn't electronically timed by scouts that are there, like, and then timed electronically by the NFL Combine. Like, it's hand timed by like an Alabama fucking water boy. You know what I mean?
Well, I think each coach or scout has their own stopwatch.
Yes, but the point is so what I'm saying is if they don't have the combine, then they're obviously each of these pro days, they're not going to send every scout to these pro days. That would just be not allowed also. So if there's not a scout there to do their stopwatch, then you're going to get inflated times from these pro days.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's happened before. Like, who was it last year? Oh, Cameron Dantzler. Ran a 4.63 at the combine, then at his pro day runs a 4.31. Like, that's, like, I'm telling you, like, that's the shit you're going to get. Like, you're going to get a lot of that.
I always felt like the biggest difference is like the drills, right? Because you're having the quarterback who they're used to throwing to the receivers they're used to, as opposed to just throwing to strange receivers, which you might do your rookie year in the NFL, is throw to people you're not used to throwing to.
Very true. That's 100% true.
I did notice that when I watched the Bill Belichick Nick Saban's ESPN 30 for 30, it was funny how Nick Saban had said that Bill Belichick is one of the few coaches in the NFL who actually asks him about his players. Like, he said most coaches don't ask him about his players.
Ask him about his players? Huh.
Yeah. I thought, that's weird. He said that Bill will ask him, like, hey, what's the deal with this guy? And And Saban said, "I'll shoot you straight. I'll say, this is the thing. He's really good at this. He's not so good at this." And he goes, "I'll never pump up a guy. I'll just tell it exactly how it is." And up to those coaches, he goes, "But it's funny because he goes, you and maybe two other guys actually asked me about the players. Nobody else ever asked me anything."
That's wild. I mean, I couldn't even imagine that. How I'm not a scout blows my mind.
I think that's the first person you want to talk to.
Exactly. Like, I'd immediately be like, "Hey, coach, what's this guy like in the locker room?" You know what I mean? Like.
Also, while we're on the combine, I heard a great story from Nate Burleson. He was talking about the first time he kind of worked with Calvin Johnson. Mm-hmm. And he said that the first time he ever met him, he was on the Seahawks, and Calvin Johnson was on the Lions, obviously. And he said he was a punt returner on the Seahawks. He said that, Calvin Johnson, the play before, had just gotten completely cleaned by their safety, just leveled, kind of just laying there. So he's running onto the field, and he sees Calvin Johnson laying on the ground because, it's punt team's going out. And he said he stood over Calvin Johnson, and he's like, "You okay, big man?" And, he said Calvin Johnson stood up. He said, and it's just like layers kept growing on him. He's looking straight up.
Like a transformer.
He goes, and now I'm looking straight up at him, and I'm like, "So are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." And he ran off. He goes, anyways, then I'm on the Lions and I'm practicing with him. And he goes, here's the thing about Calvin Johnson. He goes, either some people know it, some people don't. He goes, he was balls out every single day in practice. Number one effort. Like every day he was practicing like he was going to get cut if he didn't play good. Mm-hmm. Like that's how he practiced. And so it's like he was trying to lead by example. And he goes, our first practice, we go into the weight room. We're doing all like combine type drills, bench press, high jump, all that stuff. So he goes, most of the receivers, he goes, we get to do the high jump or whatever, it's a vertical. And he goes, you're like 38, 37 inches. He goes, I could get 39, whatever. He goes, so Calvin gets up there, first jump, 43 inches. Right? And we're like, damn. Second jump, 44 inches. Because you keep jumping until you can't click the thing anymore.
Yeah.
He goes, so he jumps again, 45 inches, right?
Jesus.
And then he's like, all right, I'm good. And they're like, oh, no, you got more tries. Like, nah, I'm good. So we get over to the bench press. He goes, again, most wide receivers, 8 to 10, on the bench press at 225.
Yeah.
He goes, Calvin gets up there. He's got 10. Then he's at 12, 15, 17, right? And we're like, yeah, come on, CJ. Come on, you got this, right? And then he's like, fine. He gets to 20. And on the 20th, he just kind of goes and puts it back. And everyone's like, oh, yeah. And they're clapping because he's number one on the receivers as far as bench press. But I could see he probably could have done 10 more, right? He goes, so I go over to him and I was like, hey, CJ, man, what's that all about? Like, why'd you pull up? Like, you could have done more. He's like, oh, yeah, you saw that, huh? like, yeah, man, like, why are you holding up? Like, at the high jump, you could have jumped higher. The bench press, you could have benched. Like, what's up? He said, and Calvin Johnson he wanted to set the example that, I'm the best receiver here, but he didn't want to embarrass any of the other receivers.
Oh, okay.
And so he was like, hey, I'm going to show that I'm good, but I'm not going to make you guys look bad.
I mean, still making them look bad. It makes them look worse when they realize he's not actually trying and still doing this well. Like, Nate Burleson's probably like, man, fuck you, bro.
So, yeah, I thought it was a great story. And I was like,
yeah.
On the, Peterson, you mentioned this to me because I had it in our show originally that, the Peterson was supposed to meet with ownership and front office. They'd be talking about his future. They've talked about his future. And, he is not going to be part of it.
He is not a part of their future.
So I'm curious. I mentioned it before we started recording. I'm not shocked at all. Obviously the whole benching, which I think actually was kind of a front office move too, benching Hurts to kind of get that higher draft pick. I don't think that was a horrible move. But I think maybe going to Hurts, I really feel like ownership is really team Wentz. I really feel that. And I told you this a couple episodes ago that I felt like Wentz saying that he wanted to be traded was pressuring them to fire Peterson so that he get a coach that will start him.
And you were right. I mean, and now at this point, I think they're gonna. And I mean, but do they? I mean, now at 6, you've got a new coach who's got to come in and have to fit his system around a quarterback who's already in place, and then a backup quarterback who's already in place and challenged your starting quarterback. And I mean, that's a shit show.
It's bad. I don't think that they'll bring in anybody who will be like, hey, Carson Wentz is the starter now. I think it'll be an open competition, but I think that Wentz will be favored. I really feel like if Peterson stayed, it was going to be Hurts's job next year. Yeah. And I feel like the team feels like, listen, we've invested a ton of money into Carson Wentz starting next year. So we want to bring somebody in who's going to give him an honest shot.
At least give him a shot. Yeah.
And if I were them, I'd start by drafting. I know we haven't picked him a wide receiver, but any offensive line help you can get him because he just had no time to throw this year.
Yeah, that's true. It's hand in hand. A wide receiver helps you as much as a offensive lineman sometimes.
Yeah, I guess depending on how good they are.
Yeah, when you've got T.J. Fulgham and Greg Ward, you need somebody to throw the ball to, man.
So it seems like there's quite a few of these openings coming out. The head coach openings. Obviously, I always pitch McDaniels as the guy. Like, where would he go? I don't think he's going to go anywhere other than New England. I think he's getting paid like a head coach. There's no reason for him to leave. There's not more money anywhere else, and just stay there with Kraft for as long as you can. Yeah, what you saying?
I said I agree.
Yeah, but who would be a good, I guess, coach in Philadelphia? Bieniemy, I guess, right?
Yeah, he's got to be the number one guy for every job, but man, I don't even know. It'd have to be somebody again. Like, that's such a weird situation to go into that I truly don't. I'd have to think.
No, I saw this move that I guess the Cowboys are very close, or they have a deal in place for Dan Quinn to be the defensive coordinator there. Yeah. And I don't hate that. I think he's a great defensive coordinator, not a great head coach, but a really good defensive coordinator. So you bring him into Dallas. I think that's a good hire. I don't like Mike McCarthy still, so I don't know what you do about
that. Agreed. I don't know. I like Dan Quinn. I think he's a good defensive coordinator. I don't love that his teams constantly give up leads at the end of games and play like shit at the end of games. So I don't love that trait. So it's kind of Cowboy-esque. So I think it'll fit perfect right there.
Now, and I saw, what do you think about Marvin Lewis as a Jets head coach?
Ew.
Yeah, I saw that was a possibility. So
I don't like Marvin Lewis as a coach. So I think he just needs to stick to being a defensive coordinator.
I don't mind him as a coach. I just don't know. He's better than what you have now or what you had with Gase.
Yes.
But I'm just curious. He went with the Bengals.
Better than what they have in Gase.
So I thought he did okay with the Bengals. Didn't win a playoff game with them, right? So
yeah, exactly. And that's important.
Now here's a question. So, because I got into this argument with Jesse, actually, not an argument, but Jesse had mentioned something to the effect of, I can't remember what head coach. Oh, Jim Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about. Actually, I'll save it until we get to Jim Harbaugh.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, so, since it kind of is related to that. So this was shocking to me. So I want to give a shout out to on YouTube. We're getting comments on our thing, as I mentioned, on the video that we did. And one of the comments was from this person, Votify on YouTube. Whoever you are, thank you for commenting. His comment was that Joe Burrow is going to be ready for the start of the 2021 season. I'm like, where are you seeing that? The guy tore his ACL, MCL, had artery damage. Like, this was a major knee injury. Yeah. And then I found an ESPN article, and they said legit that he is prepared to play in the preseason and start week 1.
Yeah, I don't know if he's actually going to get there. That's the plan. Man, that would be incredible. These knee surgeries are moving so fast these days, but still, why even do that? Why not wait till week 4 or week 6 if he's actually ready? Your team's not going to compete anyway, is it? I think there's no reason to rush this. You rush him back and something bad happens, and God, that would be so bungles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, again, it depends on how he's feeling. And it's one of those things where it's like, if there's any tension in your knee, anything at all, obviously you want to take it as slow as possible. But again, if he comes up in preseason and he can run all the drills and he's running his usual 40 time and he's cutting well back and forth, and I guess, why not start him week 1? I guess.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
And then we'll find out all these people who are saying that Justin Herbert's better. We'll see who's really better.
If it's actually true, yeah.
Rumors out there, Tua for Watson. I've seen these rumors, and I don't. I mentioned it to you. I said, you know what? If you did Tua and the number 3 overall pick, I think that's enough. You think they need to put up both first round picks and Tua to get there, which to me is then they're putting up 3 first round picks.
Yeah, that's what you need for a quarterback, pretty much.
I guess it just seems like a lot, especially since you just took Tua with a third overall pick. So you're trading the third pick, and then the 16th pick or whatever it is.
Yeah, and you're getting an all-pro quarterback already. Like, you're getting a known commodity. You don't even know what you have in Tua. The team doesn't even know if they like Tua. Clearly, if they're willing to trade Tua, they don't like Tua. So there's talks that they may take another quarterback at 3 this year. So, I mean, like, clearly it's not the value that – I think Tua's lost value since he's come into the league. So that's just where I think on that.
Well, my question was this, is that – who's going to come in with a better offer than Tua plus the number 3 overall pick?
Dallas.
Would you mention Dak and what, the 16th pick? 10?
Dak and 10. I think San Francisco with Jimmy G and 12.
And Casario's there, so Casario, if he likes Jimmy G, it makes sense that he would do something.
Yeah. Yep. I think that in 12 makes a lot of sense. Honestly, they may have to do that 12 and a second, to be fair, because Jimmy G hasn't performed well. I mean, a team like Jacksonville could offer the house, and offer both their first and a first next year, something like that, especially if Nick Saban, not Nick Saban. Help me out here. Urban Meyer comes there and decides, hey, I want Deshaun Watson, make it happen.
Okay. Where's that again? I'm sorry.
Jacksonville.
Instead of Lawrence?
Yeah.
So would you trade Watson for 1 overall straight up?
No, it'd need like 1 and it'd need both firsts, I think. But I mean, like, that'd be the best offer.
Yeah, I guess because you're getting Trevor Lawrence and you're getting another pick there. Yeah, I guess if that's really what you want. But I mean, I don't know, that'd be tough. It is tough all around. What do you think about Deshaun Watson saying, well, I was told that I was going to be involved in the GM and the coaching search, and then they went and they got somebody without asking me? I mean, should you really be involved in the GM search?
Well, it's not that he wasn't asked. He was asked. It's that they pretty much ignored his opinion. They went out and got some kind of company to like perform a search and be like, hey, what do you think the best candidates are? And apparently they came back with Louis Riddick and somebody else. And they obviously ignored both those options and went Casario. And then also they didn't tell Deshaun Watson at all. He had to find out through social media. And apparently he didn't like that. Like, that was it. He's like, you said I would be involved in this process, and you didn't even tell me what decision you were making, essentially.
And again, I don't like it because it's a front office decision. Like, it's not like, am I going to let you know who I'm hiring as a secretary too? Am I going to let you know who I'm hiring? It's you're hiring the general manager. It has nothing to do with the quarterback. I can see the quarterback wanting to be involved in the coach because that's going to be the guy that's coaching him. But yeah. I don't think he should be even. Who cares if you let him know about the GM?
Yeah, I mean, I think it matters when it's your face of your franchise, and it's like kind of deciding who, especially with how he was upset with the GM, the last GM that was there, and things like that. So
I don't know. I don't like it. I think Nick Casario is a great hire for them, regardless of what the independent research firm said or whatever it is. Casario has a great reputation with the Patriots. He's Bill Belichick's right-hand man. There's a reason they wouldn't let the Texans talk to him last year, and I guess that he really wanted to be the GM of the Texans last year. And he got kind of pissed about the Patriots saying, no, you can't even talk to them because you're under contract here or whatever. I think it's going to be a really good hire for him. I think the head coach is going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody with Patriot ties just because of, I don't think Matt Patricia, but I wouldn't be surprised if Patricia ends up there as a DC.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if he's able to pry away McDaniels.
Oof, man. That would be a huge blow to Bill, to lose Casario and
McDaniels in the same offseason. And then maybe Deshaun Watson stays if he can get Josh McDaniels.
I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Imagine, though, if he gets rid of Deshaun Watson for Jimmy G, 12, and like a second next year or something like that, and then brings over Josh McDaniels, and you got Jimmy G and Josh McDaniels in Houston.
I don't even want to think about that because Jimmy G's supposed to play with Josh McDaniels. That's the only place I want to see the two of them.
There you go.
NCAA football, the championship game is going on right now, or started at 8:30.
It is on right now. Fuck.
Alabama, Ohio State.
Why are we doing this show right now? I know
because you were stuck in traffic.
I'm an asshole. It's my own fault. I shouldn't have. Damn, Alabama's up 14-7. Let's go.
Okay. So this is a game where I was just going to kind of get your take on what you think is going to happen. Is it going to be at Alabama? Is it going to be a close game? They have the over-under 75.
Hold on, I'm putting it on. All right. Yeah, Alabama's gonna crush this game, I think. Oh, damn, fumble. All right, so Ohio State just forced a turnover, so it's 14-7 Ohio State football. But I honestly think Alabama should win. I think the line was down to 7. It opened at 7, went to 8.5, and then I think it went back down to 7. I'm not really sure, though. I didn't see where it finished. I think they cover that. But we'll see. It's going to be a great game, it looks like.
Good. Yeah, I'm hoping Justin Fields steps up. I think that if Justin Fields has a really great game, I think you're going to see all those people saying, oh, did he play his way into the number one spot? You're going to see a lot of that. So.
Which will be retarded.
But I already had to shoot down some people today who were like, hey, we already think he's number one. And I'm like, no.
Well, you're an idiot. I mean, I think cucumbers are gross and people think I'm stupid. So
I'll have cucumbers and vinegar every day for lunch.
I hate cucumbers.
Do you like pickles?
I love them.
They're just cucumbers. They're just soaked in juice.
Not. Exactly. Except they're soaked in goodness.
So you see, I
hate celery too.
I don't mind. It's kind of stringy. I don't like the stringiness. But no, the cucumbers I like. Like I said, I soak them in vinegar, and it's really good. I like that. Uh-huh. Unless you don't like vinegar. But
no, I love vinegar. What kind of vinegar? Some like balsamic? What you doing?
Apple cider.
Apple cider?
Yeah.
It's good for you too.
Supposedly. Yeah. All right, the other NCAA news, Jim Harbaugh gets an extension from Michigan, which we all think is absolutely stupid. Like, I don't understand how you give this guy an extension when he can't beat Michigan State, he can't beat Ohio State, he can't beat anybody.
He can't beat anybody at this point. I don't know. I was talking to a Michigan – damn, Ohio State just scored. I was talking to a Michigan alum, and apparently he's got some quarterback. I don't know. I guess I'd have to look and see what their recruiting situation looks like. I guess he's got a quarterback that's kind of tied to him. So I think that may have weighed into the decision. Ooh, excuse me. The decision. But truthfully, I'm not sure how they bring this guy back. I think it's a terrible move. I have no idea what's going on.
The only thing I can think of is maybe they felt, too, like all of this talk about him possibly going back to the NFL was good publicity for them to have him, so that recruits were like, hey, this guy's still desired by the NFL. He's going to be our coach in college.
Yeah.
Except he doesn't know how to coach in college, so you're going to lose. All right, so this was a comment Jesse had. I'd mentioned, it's ridiculous to bring Harbaugh back. And Jesse had mentioned something to the effect of, if he were a black coach, this would not have happened. They would not have given him the extension. He wouldn't have had as long of a leash. And I disagreed with that. I said if it was a big-name NFL African-American coach, like we were talking about Marvin Lewis, if Marvin Lewis was coaching at Michigan, he'd have a long leash. He had a long leash at Cincinnati. 10 years in a row not winning a playoff game. They just kept re-signing him every year. He actually had to leave. They didn't fire him. He just had to leave because they were going to keep having him come back.
Yeah, I don't agree with that take at all. I mean, yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I don't agree. I think that's a stupid take.
Yeah, I don't like it. Because, again, like I say, I think it depends, too. Because if you're going to say, and I see these comparisons come up all the time, not to get too into the whole political thing, but when we're comparing two people, but you're comparing apples and oranges, we're like, oh, well, Jim Harbaugh got this extension, but, Lovie Smith didn't get – well, Lovie Smith sucks.
Yes, exactly. Like, Lovie Smith isn't a good coach, and he was getting crouched at fucking Illinois and shit like that.
Now, granted, Harbaugh has not been a good coach in college, but Harbaugh is a bigger name than Lovie Smith, and he at least made it to a Super Bowl in the NFL, which Lovie Smith did not do.
And he's also a great recruiter.
Is he a great recruiter?
Rashawn Gary was like the number 2 overall prospect coming out of high school. That Kwity Paye kid was a really big recruit. They get a ton of high recruits.
But I feel like they still get out-recruited by Ohio State.
Well, of course, but I mean that doesn't matter. If you're still a top 15 recruiting class in the nation, like that's great at recruiting.
I guess we should be top in your conference, I would think.
I mean, when there's 284 teams and you're in the top 15, you're great.
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No. I think
yes.
No, not for that kind of. Michigan is a Florida State, Alabama type.
But if you're consistently getting 5-star recruits and 4-star recruits and things like that, even if Ohio State gets 5 of them, if you get 2, that's huge for your program. And like if you don't have Jim Harbaugh, you're not getting those 5-star recruits.
But I'm saying when the teams that are out recruiting you are the ones in the playoffs every year, you need to do something to step it up. I think you send Urban Meyer to Michigan, and guess what? They'll have a better recruiting class in Ohio State the first year he's there.
Yeah, but you also send fucking, I don't know, somebody else who's not the most famous college coach on the planet.
Well, because he's a phenomenal recruiter, I'm saying.
Yes,
Jim Harbaugh is not a good recruiter.
Yes, he is. You bring Jim Harbaugh to USC or somebody like that, he instantly makes them a better program and gets them better recruits and things like that. You bring him, whatever program he goes to, he instantly gets better recruits because he is a Super Bowl winning coach and one big name. And
yes, if Jim Harbaugh goes to UConn, he will get better recruits than they're getting now because he's a huge name, way bigger than the college. But I'm saying that if you take Jim Harbaugh and you send him to Ohio State and you switch him with Ryan.
I didn't say UConn. I said USC, who's the Pac-12 champion.
I know,
right? Who's another big college. But so don't just. My point. I used the big college. So I don't know what you're saying.
I'm saying
Harbaugh isn't bigger than USC.
But if you bring him to one of those schools who out recruits him every year, they're not going to do better with him there.
I disagree.
I don't. I think Michigan recruits because of the name Michigan. The yellow M is what brings the kids there, not Jim Harbaugh.
I disagree.
Okay. Well, agree to disagree then, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
NBA will not postpone its season, despite the fact they've already had to postpone the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics game because of COVID. Teams are running out there with 8 and 9 guys deep because of COVID. And yet the NBA is like, no, we're just going to keep running out this season. And I don't get it. Like, you're not in the bubble. And I'm not saying you should postpone the season, but maybe you should police these guys a little bit better.
You definitely should. I mean, the bubble worked so well, like we saw it work. And I mean, I think they should maybe think about going back to it. I know you can't like keep these guys in a bubble for that long, but I mean, if you're not, then I mean, you've got to, like you said, police it a little better, at least like the best you can. I don't even know how you could, but like, I mean, like, how do you punish these guys? Like genuinely, like, what would you do? How would you even police it?
1 game suspension without pay plus a 1 game pay in a fine.
For what?
For contracting COVID, I guess. I don't know.
But that's not like, I mean, like,
not contracting, but I mean behavior. I mean, if you're like, hey, the guy's out at the club, we got reports, we've got video, we got pictures, then you're suspended.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Something that's got to hurt their pocketbook, because I call it a pocketbook.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
No, I know.
That's all they really care about, and I think that will control them. The last bit of NBA news that I had: LaMelo Ball becomes the youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double against the Atlanta Hawks. And he almost did it, actually, the game before that against the Pelicans, against his brother. He actually had, I think, 12, 10, and 9. And then came up against the Hawks, had whatever, 22, 11, and 10 or something like that. But pretty cool. I mean, I've always thought he was the best of them. And now the fact that he grew like 8 inches since, we saw him play in high school, he's really, really good. And he shoots better than his brother. And I think that, he's a legit star.
I do too. I mean, I really do think he's big. He's continuing to grow. I mean, if he continues to mature like this, I mean, I really think he's going to be like what we thought Ben Simmons could be if he learned how to shoot. So,
well, I did his per 36 because right now he's only playing 24 minutes per game, but his per 36 numbers are 19, 9, and 8.5, which is nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, legit star there. And the other guy there in Charlotte is Boston fans are going to hate this, but Gordon Hayward is playing amazing.
Is he? I haven't even been paying attention, truthfully.
Yeah.
To Gordon. Is he?
Every other game, it seems like he has 44 or 38. And I mean, in Boston,
he's in a spot. I think he's the type of player that needs to be featured in the offense, and then he can really excel. And in Boston, he was like the 4th option. You know what I mean?
I also feel like
he was always hurt.
Well, I also feel like he benefits too from a less rabid fan base. Boston can be brutal. I don't think he would do well in Philadelphia, Chicago, LA, But I think Charlotte's perfect for him. It's a small city basketball team.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Utah was perfect for him.
Yeah.
Also, I saw somebody at our mock draft had a comment for you. They said players at BYU are not forced to go on missions. Zach Wilson has not gone on a mission.
Oh, I thought they were forced, but
no, I guess it's always optional.
Alabama just scored.
Oh, nice. So yeah, it's always. I know Sean Bradley went on one.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's always optional.
Okay.
I don't know if Brigham Young did. Not Brigham Young. That's what
Steve Young.
Steve Young, yeah, his nephew, his great nephew there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe he did. My uncle went on a mission. Whoops, I hit that button again. My uncle went on a Mormon mission.
That's right. I forgot you were Mormon. Or used to be Mormon.
I'm not Mormon, but no, my uncle had gone on a Mormon mission. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, that's right. My apologies.
I've been part of a lot of different denominations.
Have you really?
Now I'm part of the right one. Yeah.
Which is what?
Atheism.
Nice. Agnostic?
Agnostic more, yeah, because I don't really know what happens, in the end.
There's a God. He just isn't the one they talk about in the Bible.
I don't even. I think that we're the most powerful beings in our planet. Obviously, I think there are aliens and things like that. But I think, I do believe in a spirit realm, I guess. So when you die, your spirit goes like a spirit realm. It's not heaven. It's not hell. There's no judging involved. You just kind of move on to another level.
Okay.
So, because I think atheists definitely just think, nope, once you're dead, that's it. I'm like, geez, how fucking sad is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's
I'm not going to get to see my mom again? That's horrible. All right, but that's pretty much all the news I have. We kind of ran through those playoff games really quick. Obviously, it's a shorter show. I know we're starting a little bit later. We had quite a few viewers early on, so I'm just curious if you had any takes and anything that you had seen that we kind of skipped over.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so obviously Saturday will be a good show. We're potentially bringing in a third man. We'll see how that all goes for Saturday, and. Hopefully there's some big news. We'll see who wins this game. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the upcoming playoff games that Sunday.
Yeah.
And other than that, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's a short show. We didn't keep you up too late. Thank you for all the YouTube followers. Super thanks for all the people watching. And hopefully it leads to you guys watching this one and the next one and the next one. Subscribe. Tell people about it. We definitely love word of mouth. You're like, hey, there's this really cool show. I think we put on a pretty solid show, except for times when, Sully says things that it's not the M that gets all the recruits there. But, he doesn't speak for the show, people. He doesn't.
I do, guys. Everybody knows. I mean, it's no shocker that our most watched episode was my beautiful face talking about the mock drafts. You know what I mean? So let's be real here.
All right. Well, I threw it to Kenny last week. You want to do it this week?
Yeah, I mean, this show's over like Wayne G in the argument, right?
It's over, ladies and gentlemen.